Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leadership and Culture First, our new podcast that we've set up together. So the purpose of this first episode is just to introduce who we are, what brought us together, what we're going to focus on, and just generally talk about what the podcast's about. So I'm Dr. Sharon Black. I've been in healthcare for 30 plus years in lots of leadership roles, clinical roles first. I am a registered nurse. So clinical roles, leadership roles, primarily in higher education.
And I'm Dr. Nicola Ashby, and I've been in nursing, healthcare education, and I've worked throughout all sorts of different sectors, really, for nearly 40 years next year. 40 years, I don't know how that happened. But I have worked across in leadership roles, really, for around the last 30 years, which has been a really exciting journey across lots of different organisations.
So what brought us together then, Nikki?
Oh, no. Now there's a
There's
story.
the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
We met some time ago, actually, and we started to work together, I think,
Yeah,
didn't we?
we
We
did.
worked at some senior organisations. We both had very similar careers. And then from there, we had lots of things, lots of synergies, I think, that led us towards training as coaches and setting up Access Culture
Yeah.
Group.
But what is nice is that through all this, we've actually become friends, which is really lovely. So we feel really safe talking to each other about our experiences. We've had experiences of leadership and culture in all the different organisations we've worked in, some absolutely fantastic, some not great, but it's given us that opportunity to get together and share and talk about it, some of which is what we'll be talking about on this podcast. So yeah, so we've definitely got, I like the word synergy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice. I like that.
synergy is good. And I think our experiences are very similar, which is something that, when you get towards the end of your career and you look down that tunnel backwards, it's really important actually that you recognize there are lots of similarities to other people that are
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. We should have had some violin music then, shouldn't we, really?
Very small
Very
one,
small
very
violin.
small
Yeah.
violin. Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah. So hope we bring you something and that you like to listen to us.
So how did we get here, Sharon? How did we start Axis and when?
So, and we probably should talk a little bit more about what Access Culture Group is.
That's probably a
Yeah,
very
should we
good
do that?
idea.
Yes. So, Access Culture Group is a company that we set up based on what we've just talked about, which is our experience, our relationship, how we've worked together before, how we've become friends. But also, we've both done the same coaching qualification, haven't we?
We have. And I think one of the important things about getting to that coaching qualification is how it really has, and I'm going to use that word again because we like it, that synergy with healthcare.
Yeah. And I think certainly for me, I think you were a little bit ahead of me on we did the the ILM7 in executive coaching and mentoring. You were a bit ahead of me on that course, weren't you? And I came to you and said, "Oh, what's the course like?" And it was a good course. So, and actually, it's been a fantastic program, really good program to do. And we've learnt a lot, I think, haven't we?
I've learned a lot of things
Yeah.
that I thought I knew, but actually when you really dig into coaching, there's a real benefit for individuals. So I'm really glad that I started to do that. And part of doing that course was to really add some evidence behind the things that I thought I was doing anyway.
Yeah, because I think you'd probably agree that in our careers in the past, we've done lots of mentoring and probably a bit of informal coaching, but there's not been that structure to it. That's not, it's been a bit more ad hoc. And I think we've both discussed that with our experience, collective experience, but also individual experience. It was a really good way to go to set up Access Culture Group. So, yeah, it's an exciting time, isn't it?
It is an exciting time. I had coaching through a course that I undertook, and that brought me to realize actually that coaching was really, really important for my development further as I moved through my career, but also for me to look at where I'd been in my career and how I'd actually got to the stage that I was at. And I think really the important part for me that made me want to be a coach was I could see that I kept going back to coaching. I kept going back to my coach and still go back to my coach, still talk to her about lots of different areas professionally and personally. And it enables me to be able to work through some of those areas that I thought I had worked through, but perhaps I hadn't quite dug deep enough.
Yeah. So we'll be discussing some of these things in our podcast, but we'll also have guests on. give us a really, really good opportunity to pick the brains of leaders out there that have both succeeded, but we'll also challenge them to talk about times when they may not have succeeded quite as well as they'd wanted
Yeah.
to. And we get to ask those challenging questions, but also give you the opportunity to pose challenging questions of us and also pose challenging questions for them. So we can look at, if you've got any questions or anything you want us to discuss or talk about, we can absolutely take that forward.
I think the development of Access and bringing us together to be coaches as well, our experience of education was really central to that. We've both worked in education for a great many years and can see how there is a real benefit to education and coaching together. I wish I'd had access to it, Sharon, when I'd started my journey.
Yeah, me too.
And I regret that it wasn't around then.
Yeah, I didn't really know about things like coaching early on. And we certainly didn't have podcasts back in the day either to learn from. So I think it's a really good opportunity to share that and have those discussions. So, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really exciting
Mm.
to dig deeper into that and ask those important questions. No question is a wrong question.
No.
We'd like to be able to really engage with our audience and see what is it that you want to know from people? What is it that you want to hear and dig into and what will help you? Well, we've told everybody all about coaches, Sharon. So what about our clients? Who are they? Who are we aiming to talk to in Access Culture Group, but also with these podcasts? Why are we doing them?
Well, we're looking at, I think we had a really good discussion about this because we wanted to make sure that it was accessible to a wide range of people. But primarily, this is about anyone who wants to develop their leadership skills. So whilst our coaching does focus on sort of exec level leaders in health and social care, and people wanting to develop their leadership skills and become more, I guess, develop that insight into themselves as a leader. This is about leaders generally. So what we don't want is to think, oh, this podcast is only for executive leaders because that's the coaching we do. We want it to be broader than that. This podcast will also be really great for students who are wanting to improve their leadership. So yeah, a wide range of, I guess, a wide audience really. So we've got our coaching side, which we do focus on sort of that exec level coaching in health and social care. And then the podcast is really for anyone wanting to develop their leadership or just get more insight into leadership or to listen to some really interesting people speak about their leadership journeys.
I think that's really
Yeah.
important. Those guests that we're going to be getting on are going to be
Yeah.
really interesting people from not just healthcare, I
No.
think from all sorts of
No.
different areas. We're going to explore neurodiversity. We're going to explore people's areas around industry and business. So there's a lot in this podcast that's going to be coming out for individuals to
Yeah.
tap into. So who are our leaders? Who are our next leaders?
Oh, next, this is why it's very exciting. So I think we just need to look broadly. I think there are people who potentially will make excellent leaders, but just need that support, that guidance, that courage to take that step. Because I think what I've seen happen in the past, and you have probably seen the same, is that for people who end up being those accidental leaders can often feel a bit out of their depth or they're not sure of themselves. And that can often lead to burnout and those sorts of issues. So we're really keen to support new leaders, aspiring leaders, but also those experienced exec leaders who have got to make those really tricky decisions sometimes in practice. And your point as well about talking to leaders from industry outside of health and social care, that's really important because it can also enable you to think about your transferable skills. If you're wanting to move from one
Absolutely.
area or one profession to another, you can really, really talk about that. And, we've, like we've just said, some really interesting people from outside of health and social care and education who can come and we've already got lined up to come and chat to us.
It's very, very easy to think that when you move into a role, you're going to be in that role forever when you're
Yeah.
in our generation. But today's younger generation, they have a very different view of their careers
Mm.
moving forward. So I think it's going to be exciting to listen to lots of different
Yeah.
generations talking about what they think leadership is, how it's best for the
Mm.
organization, best for them and best for the teams. And that's something I'm really interested in is how those teams work together and how we get that culture right for them.
Yeah, and I think that, like you've just said about culture, briefly touched on there, this isn't just about leadership, it's how it's to help leaders recognize how they can develop those really supportive, inclusive, psychologically safe cultures in their workplace, how they identify them, how you can influence those cultures. And we can talk about all those sorts of things, which is good.
Do you think the ability to influence is dependent on how many years you've got under the belt?
No, actually, I don't. I
Mm.
think you can influence at very different levels. It's knowing what you what's within your control, but then how you can influence sideways, upwards, downwards, inwards, outwards. And I think I've met some excellent healthcare students in the past who, through doing things like service improvement projects, quality improvement projects, have been able to influence change even at their level before they qualify. So yeah, I think it's influence is really interesting, isn't it? And different levels, but I think, people are able to influence it in different ways at different levels.
I think that's something we'll be able to dig into
It
later.
will, yes.
And that'll be really exciting to hear from people from all the different generations,
Mm.
not only about their experiences, but about the tools they use.
Yes,
Very different to what I used when I was younger.
indeed. And, we're sat here on this podcast using a tool that we wouldn't have ever dreamt of
Uh,
30 years ago.
yeah, all that time ago when we started.
Yeah.
But it opens up a great chance to speak to a wide audience around the world. And everybody knows that I'm really, really keen on working with global audiences and
Mm.
inclusivity. And one of the things for me that's important is that we're easily accessible and that we have those questions from different cultures so that we can address lots of different questions around that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Getting some international speakers as well. We have got some lined up. So it's going to be very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it and looking forward to having those chats and discussions.
Yep, I
Yeah.
think it's going to be fantastic. And we'll be able to hopefully start to get people thinking about how they make a change,
Yes. However small or big that change might be. Yeah.
however small or big.
Shall we talk about our vision?
Yeah, the vision for the
Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I mean, what is a podcast, I think, first of all? I know people are signing in, but they might not have heard about what a podcast is.
I think it's a really good way of learning new knowledge, new skills very efficiently.
That's a good word.
Multitask. Yeah, multitasking. So hopefully our listeners will be able to, and viewers will be able to multitask whilst listening to our podcast.
It's a really good way of getting information in bite-sized pieces, I think, as
Yeah.
well, and actually having access into conversations that can be held with people that you might not normally be able to hear from.
Absolutely. I think that's what we're trying to do, isn't it? Is get those very different viewpoints, different experiences, different people coming to talk to us.
And it's really exciting that they want to come and talk to us and that they value being able to give that information to the people who want to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're also writing a blog, aren't we, with Access Culture Group, which we can also link these podcasts to, because we've already talked about things in our blog around psychological safety. You've talked around some of your experiences, things around what we can and can't control, all of those sorts of things. We can very much bring some of those blogs to life as well.
Yeah, it gives us an opportunity to be able to expand that out and to be able to add more to it. Because sometimes there are some questions, just like in coaching, that you want to dig a little bit deeper and find out what's going on and try and find some answers and some solutions that hopefully that blog helps us to think about some of those conversations that we've seen going on our social media platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. So really we can, we're hopeful that people who are looking for, they may have their own company, might be individuals, work in teams. Really, this could potentially help all of those people.
Yeah, it could. And it's also got a chance to be able to help those organizations, because those people that are going to learn about leadership will put back into the patients. And I guess we've spoken as well a little bit around it being across health and social care, but we've also talked a bit about it being wider than health and social care, commercial aspects, education facilities, higher education facilities. I think it's really important that it doesn't matter where you come from with leadership. And there are skills in whichever career pathway that are transferable into moving careers, having an influence on others. And it's important.
It is really important. Yeah. And that's what we're going to explore on our podcast.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have some fun as well.
I hope so.
Yes. That would be nice. Yeah, I think we will. Because we quite enjoy. We like to chat, don't we?
Wow, spent a whole lifetime doing that.
Doing it, absolutely. So what do we need from you? So this is a bit of a call to action as well for you. So don't forget for this episode, but for future episodes, like and subscribe from wherever you access your podcasts and your listening. We aim to have 2 of these podcasts a month, and then we'll kind of go from there, engage your, if you want more from us, we'll have a look at that. We'll be guided by you a bit as well. So anything from you, Nikki, to finish off?
Yeah, I think it's really important as well that you look a little bit around where we are on the other social media platforms. Have a look at those blogs and start to see if there's any questions that it really stimulates that you'd be able to ask us. Look at the blogs, access into Access Culture Group, and also really follow us. I think follow us as individuals, follow us within the company, see what we can do, see whether we interest you, or even if you disagree with us, that would be really good.
Yes.
Because we've worked in education a long time. We love a good debate.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we absolutely do. So thank you very much for listening to us today. And we really look forward to you joining us again and taking you on our journey as well. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.